kids, thanks for joining me in the garage again today. We're going to be looking at Harbor Freight jack stands today. I have a version of the 6-ton jack stands that they've issued a recall on, and a version of the 6-ton jack stands that they have not issued a recall on. We're going to take a look at the difference between the two and probably why these have been recalled. So like, subscribe, comment down below. See you in just a minute. All right, so as many of you probably know, there's been a recall on both 3-ton and 6-ton jack stands for different model versions of the Harbor Freight. And so I've seen a few comments and posts online about why one version versus the other version has been recalled. And we're going to take a look at probably what the reasoning behind that is. I know they've issued a letter. You can read through that. I'll put a link down in the description so you can kind of see what's going on. It's basically the tooling for these posts that they make in one of their factories is a little aged and not quite creating the post the way it should be. So this one here is one of the recalled versions. So you can see here the part number is 61197. And so the other version that I have, which I believe is a newer version that I bought, is part number 69596. And so this is the version that has not had a recall on it. And so we'll take a look here. So one of the ways you can tell on these between the recalled and the non-recalled is obviously the part number, but then on the recalled version they just have a bare piece of metal on here, and then on the non-recalled they have kind of this piece of plastic on there. So that's one way to tell the different versions. And so let's take a look at what exactly is going on here. So you can kind of see, you know, one of the things on the non-recalled versions is you can tell this post is much beefier. You know, it probably, you know, even just side by side, you can kind of see there, it's just a little bit thicker. And so the reason they're recalling these, basically, that they show in their letter, is that these teeth are not getting forged properly. I guess there's probably a big hydraulic stamp that stamps these out when they're, you know, hot metal, and the tooling on those are getting worn out. And so you can kind of see, get these kind of side by side here, you'll be able to see how the teeth on these recalled ones are just not as deep. And so it's pretty obvious there. Let me grab some calipers and we'll measure that depth between the two of them. So if you look at the recalled version, let's try and spin this around a little bit. If we put that right there, extend it down, we're getting about, you know, about 4 millimeters, 4¼ millimeters, we'll call it. And then on the non-recalled version, we're getting, you know, nearly, you know, more than 5. So 5¾ 5½. Now it's kind of, you know, not square down there, so it's hard to kind of read, but I'm getting about 5 point, you know, so more than another millimeter in there, which, you know, when you're got these things in that's going to be a pretty significant difference as far as holding power. And so one of the other things you'll be able to see on these, if we get this in frame, if you put these posts in there, get it all down, you can see how this handle here is, you know, almost parallel with the ground. Even, you know, maybe even a little bit pointing up. And so the problem is these just don't hold, you know. I mean, look at how, so this is how far I got to move this thing before it uncatches, literally like, 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch, something like that. And so if we look at the non-recalled version and we look at this handle, you can see that sits down much farther, and then to get that to release, you got maybe an inch, much farther distance, and it's a much better position than these recalled versions. So I think that's one of the big differences. A lot of people are bashing on Harbor Freight. I think what they did was a good thing. Any responsible company, when they find a flaw in their product, is they're not obligated unless ordered by court, but for their customers, I think Harbor Freight has always seemed to do the right thing. And so I give them kudos for recalling these once they found an issue. I'm not fully apprised of the situation that caused the recall, but I think what they did in the end is good for them. I'm going to be taking my recalled jacks back and getting another set. I think these, the new model version of these work just fine. I've had the truck up. I've never had one of them fall. You can just tell that thing sits in there really good, and you're not going to be, with a couple thousand pounds on that thing, you're really not going to be able to hit this bar and pop those loose. So that's just my thoughts on that. This is obviously just my opinion. I'm no expert on jack stands, so take it with a grain of salt, what you will. So thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. If you do have these recalled jack stands, please take them back. I know some of you might be on stay-at-home orders, so do it as soon as you can. Harbor Freight is open, probably with reduced hours, so make sure you take these back. Go and look at your stock. I think they're taking them back even if you don't have a receipt or anything like that. So I don't have a receipt for these. I bought these probably 5-6 years ago, and so but I'm going to be taking them back, and we'll see what the results of that is. So thanks for watching. Follow me on social media at Weekend Wrench Turner. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Thanks for watching.